It's an exciting week on MarketBeat. We are on location in Las Vegas for the Stansberry Alliance Conference. There are so many amazing insights being shared at this conference, and we are bringing them all to you on the channel over the next 2 weeks. I'm excited about this series and all of the interesting stock tickers you'll learn right here on MarketBeat. Well, we are excited to start our Las Vegas series with David Eifrig, the CEO of Marketwise. So great to have you here. What an amazing event. So many people here just excited about investing.
Yes, and thank you for letting me sit with you again. We did this a couple of weeks ago and I had a blast, so thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's great to talk about some of the biggest things happening in the market right now. That's what this conference is all about. And hearing from all of these investors from all over the country who are gathered here today, there's one thing that really stood out for me just in general conversations, and that's this feel that everyone is kind of bracing for a crash, bracing for a move of some kind, just looking at what's out there. Are you getting that feel from people too?
Yeah, I've had the sense probably for about a month and a half that that's starting to pick up. Starting to feel that. This being day one of the conference, I'll get a better feel within 2 days from folks here, folks who come here. This is a serious group of investors that pay for 3 days of incredible amounts of information. So I'll know more if my sense is right. But you're starting to see it in the volatility in different markets where the long end of the treasury curve can move multiple basis points. The short end up and down. Overnight money, that's probably the next thing that's going to happen. There'll be a little glitch there. You've seen gold. I mean, gold's gone to all-time highs and then some within a couple days after that. That's exciting times. We're also seeing the volatility really in biotech and energy. And I feel like going into the winter, at least Northern Hemisphere, people are on edge about that. You've got stuff that's happening in the Middle East, of course, and then what's real and what's new when you hear stories about what Trump is doing or not doing. So yeah, I think there's this kind of incredible drive of uncertainty for people, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking. I kind of want to just go and meditate for a day, get away at a spa.
That's, I think, how all investors feel right now. Nerve-wracking is exactly a good word for it because it's so stressful as an investor, especially when you see right now the market's going up. Things are doing really, really well right now. You still have AI stocks that are getting these 300% growth stories in a matter of a few months. And so when there's so much momentum in the market, it's hard to stop investing. It's hard to move to safety when you're seeing all of this growth continue. But I do think that everyone's waiting kind of for the floor to drop out on this. So if it is going to happen and everyone's bracing for this potential crash, I think the big question investors have is what do we do? How do we prepare for it? And how do we protect ourselves if everyone is waiting for this kind of floor to drop, the ceiling to fall, all of these things?
Yeah, so I'm not an alarmist per se. I'm just conservative. So for me, I have to go back to what makes sense mathematically from an investor's point of view. So if you have all of your money in 2 stocks, whatever they are, NVIDIA, whether it keeps going up, whether it doubles from here, it's probably not a good idea. You want to be in a multitude of investments, from fixed income where you're not earning much but it's safe. You want to have a little bit of precious metals, gold. You want to have some other commodities. That's something. You think about rare earth and metals. But a diversified portfolio, let's say 12 to 20 things that don't take up more than 4 or 5% of your total. Now, that's where I would go now. If you've ridden this up and you were lucky or you were smart, however you think of yourself, if you're 25 years old and you put everything you owned in NVIDIA, 5 years ago, and now you've got 100 grand off of nothing, gosh, now's the time to learn how to truly invest through these downturns and for the future. For example, let's say you had 30% of your wealth in NVIDIA, and I think you would want to trim that to at least half of that. And then what do you put it into? You can put it into a long-dated treasury security, which will pay you for 10 years, 15 years, 4.5%, 5%. That's not much, but you'll feel really great about yourself if the market does dip 30, 40% for whatever reason. There's war. There's something bad that happens on our soil. There's something terrible that happens in another country, right? There's nuclear bombs, there's countries. And again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you don't want to be all in 1 stock or 2 stocks. And if you're diversified, you want to be in things that you think will hold up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, that there is just so much to be prepared for as an investor. You don't want all of your investments in the same place. in case something like this happens. One area where we are seeing a lot of growth right now, where there doesn't seem to be a bottom, but I am curious if there is any potential, is gold. We've seen gold reach new all-time highs. Really, a lot of the precious metals continue to go up. Is there a potential that a crash would hit this market as well, or is this market a little bit different?
Gosh, I don't know the answer to that. I think it's elements of right now, do the central banks continue to buy? You've got folks that are really looking at it. Some big famous investors, billionaires, are looking for places to have a store of value for a long period of time. That's a sign that people don't really want to be gambling, don't really want to be putting money on the next tech stock to go from $1 to 1,000.
Are we seeing any indicators that people are risk averse, that they're moving to safety? Are there some investors out there who are looking and waiting and bracing for the potential of a crash?
So we've had a long lift in our society and the world from cheap labor in China, and that's being altered and that's being changed. I suspect there are lots of people, there are hundreds of millions more in China that have made some money. They're also moving into things like gold and Bitcoin. And I think that's real. I think as you run from political challenges and problems and fear, and there's people here who fear even what Trump is alleged to be doing. Again, I don't really know what exactly is true anymore, but yeah, you just wonder, is it a larger group of people that really want safety and security, and gold is seen as that store of value? I don't think those folks are going to run for the door. From a psychological perspective, sort of, there's cognitive errors that humans make, and I think it happens in sort of cycles of a generation goes, they didn't learn it, it skips a generation, and then they have to learn it. And I think right now, people, let's say for example, you're 29, you've been working for 4 or 5 years, and you've taken something from nothing. You just happen to bet on, and I don't want to pick on NVIDIA, but a couple of tech stocks. They've run up in the AI space, tripled, doubled. You've got $150,000, $200,000, $300,000. You think you're smart. And then someone says, have you thought about doing margin? And you're feeling really smart and really rich because you've levered with leverage in your brokerage account. And I'm starting to see that and hear that from friends of mine whose kids are like talking to their parents about, oh, ask Uncle Dave or ask this, what about, oh, I've done this and I found margin in my trading account. I'm like, uh-oh. Because that, when it goes the other way, everyone runs for the door and there's no bidders, there's no bid, there are no buyers. And I think that's going to happen in some of the risk on stocks.
But the tried and true things, like you said, the gold market, that's as old as can be, and yet there is so much growth happening there, and people are not moving away from this market. I know you go into the gold market a lot more in your latest research on the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Give us a really brief overview of what viewers can find as far as stock ideas and different information in that report that you and your team have been working on.
One of the lessons in my life is if government is devoted to something, it's really hard to stop that and prevent it, and money will flow there and move that way. And so the Mar-a-Lago Accord has to do with meetings and Trump staff and their beliefs about where money is going to flow, and gold is a huge part of that. I don't want to give away stuff that my subscribers pay me for information, but yeah, we've got great ideas of where to invest and how to take advantage of that, and it's real. Like again, when government is focused on stuff, it's focused. You can see that infrastructure. All these companies that are announcing they're doing $50 billion investing in Tennessee in a factory. The U.S. government just bought a stake, or they're buying a stake in Intel. Why? They want foreign chip manufacturers to build stuff in the United States. Come to us, come to the state, we will give you tax credits. That's real money, real flowing, and that will lead to investment returns. So yeah, we talk about a bunch of those different things that are happening, all driven by what we call the sort of Mar-a-Lago off of Trump and Trump's team and what they're up to. So yeah.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing today. It's very interesting and a lot of insights. So if you would like to get a copy of that, you can scan the QR code now or click the link right in the description of this video to get that report and learn more about where the money is moving with this potential market crash that might be looming, and also just where a lot of smart money is going as far as gold and even silver and different precious metals and the kind of growth and wealth that you can accumulate from there. Doc, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for inviting us to this conference. There's so much information that's going to be happening over the next few days.
Thanks for having me, and truly what a joy to have you here and see what we do. I appreciate it. Yes. Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Are you bracing for a potential crash, or are you looking for growth right now like a lot of other investors? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. As always, happy investing.